Brought to you by Penguin.
Knife Edge by Simon Mayo, read by Zoe Telford. Dedicated to the memory of Sophie Christopher, 1991 to 2019. Chapter 1. Tuesday, 22nd of May. Mary Lawson was the first to die. Leaving Euston Station shortly before 6:45 a.m., she made straight for her favourite breakfast stall. A sprawling market of food stands had blossomed outside the main entrance, the hiss and clatter of espresso machines fighting the traffic, and the telephone chatter. She joined a queue for fresh pastries and coffee. It was her ritual. A routine to take the sting from the savagely early commute into London. Car, train, breakfast, tube, office. Her contactless card was ready in one hand. She scrolled her phone's news sites with the other. A muggy May morning, the air still damp after an overnight deluge. She could hear the sound of screaming swifts that tore across the sky. She clicked her phone off, distracted by this stirring of early summer. Behind her, perched on a wet bench, a man enveloped in an oversized waterproof and grey baseball cap glanced up from his phone. His body suddenly tightened, his eyes flicking from the woman to his screen and back again. He lost the phone somewhere in the folds of his jacket and stood slowly. He, too, looked to the skies. She bought the food, smiled a few words to the vendor, then began to retrace her steps to the concourse. He was barely a metre away when she glanced at him, assuming he would be asking for spare change. He smiled. She only saw the knife as it pierced her chest. The man in the grey cap muttered 3 heavily accented, incomprehensible words, and was still smiling as he held her close. Withdrew the knife, then stabbed her again, 2 inches lower this time. The only sound she made was a gasping, shuddering inhalation. By the time she fell, he was already running. 2 miles away, Harry Thomas had stopped for his first espresso of the day at the coffee cart in Kentish Town. He turned down the offer of a cut-price croissant, laughing and patting his stomach. He made it as far as the steps of the underground when a jogger with a small rucksack slashed at his throat with a kitchen knife, pausing only to rebalance, mutter some words, then plunge it deep into his heart. The spilt blood and espresso pooled, then dripped down the steps. At 6:55, Seth Hussein was crossing the road outside his Croydon flat when he was knifed by a man pushing a buggy. Sarah Thompson's throat was cut on the 259 bus from King's Cross. Brian Hall was stabbed, then pushed in front of a tube train arriving at Pimlico. The last to die were Sathnam Stanley and Anita Cross. 2 more knives, 2 more punctured hearts. It was 7:15. 7 murders in 29 minutes. Chapter 2. Famie Madden paused by her gate, adjusted her headphones, selected the magic flute, pressed play. The overture played, oboes, clarinets, bassoons, and the horns pulling her away down the street. She knew there were endless numbers of news podcasts that she should be listening to, but she ignored them all. Famie was a journalist of 2 decades standing, but she had found that she didn't much care for the news anymore. Didn't want to read it, didn't want to watch it. Instead, the intricate melodies of the 18th century seemed to work a spell over her every time. Her face might be firmly pressed to a Piccadilly line train window, with a carriage full of commuters keeping her there, but the German wordplay in her ears acted as a portal to another, happier place. At Green Park, she changed lines, sighed, and checked her overnight emails. An essay from her student daughter Charlie had arrived, to check for spelling and all that stuff. Thanks, Mum. Still useful then, she thought. As the tube doors opened at Canary Wharf, she was too busy correcting syntax to worry about the corporate restructuring that was due to dominate her day. Head down, she negotiated her place on the escalator by
Sample complete. Ready to continue?